Welcome to another edition of LSBTV. I'm Ted Godwin, and beside me is Ryan Arrowood. Welcome, Ryan.
Hi.
So we're here to talk about, well, actually not just opening day, the first two games, because the first two games for PFC came in a 4-day span. So it's been a bit of a whirlwind week for us here. So we're going to talk about those two games, what happened, the highs, the lows, and what's coming up. Right?
You pretty much nailed it.
Sounds good. So we're going to jump right into it, and we're going to start on opening day with the very first activity that was going on, because that was you guys at the stadium at, what was it, 10 a.m. on opening day?
We showed up at 10 a.m. to make sure everything was going to go smooth. So.
And we're talking tailgate, right?
It's the tailgate, the opening day tailgate.
So tell us a little bit more about how that went. What happened?
So we got there at 10. We got to watch the whirly bird of all of everyone at PFC running around frantically putting the final touches on the game, and pretty much got Suedo approval to pretty much do what we want, which sometimes we have that anyway. Set up a good spot right by the road, nice and visible, pitched up a tent and threw out some grills and cooked a whole bunch of meats and great stuff. And
I heard you had like 3 grills going all at once?
We had 3 grills going at the once. The top guys brought their and then brought theirs, and then we had 2 others as well, which pretty much ran almost the whole time. I think we didn't shut them down until about 2:45.
That's great.
It was right around, literally, right before we got ready to walk in.
Who are you? Oh, it's been...
No. We're same team this time.
Same team this time.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. How you doing?
I'm doing very well, thank you. Drinking this fine TSS Rovers approved beverage.
Excellent. We got that especially for you.
I very much appreciate it.
Yep, so that's just before the march. Now, obviously, some of us weren't there right away, myself included, because I was taking the bus. Now, this is something that we've been talking to the club about for quite a while. We talked to the club about putting on shuttle buses from downtown Victoria out to the City Centre Park, or I guess, West Hills Stadium now. And it was interesting that we were told that the buses were going to leave at 1:30 p.m. As the time wore on and it got later and later, it eventually became apparent there was an issue, so we made some contact. The bus showed up at 2:30. So that was a little bit of a setback. We're not quite sure what happened there, and we'll talk about what happened on game 2 for that when it comes to it. But it means I showed up basically just before the march was supposed to start. I think you had probably just left.
I actually was sitting in the stadium and was surprised to see you march in, because I hadn't seen you.
That's right, I wasn't even there yet.
I skipped the march and went in a little early to help out with a little bit of the TIFO, and just because I'd been up on my feet all day, and I was like, I'm not going to make this march. Got in a little early, and I was really surprised to see you leading the march. But so from what you were telling me, though, you said there was a good crowd to start, but you actually, like, some people, left and didn't end up taking the shuttle because of this.
That's true. Right? The shuttle did start with more passengers than actually rode it.
Yeah.
There was a few people who just gave up and ran for cabs or found other rides to get in there. It was not exactly the best way to start, because I think there must have been about 20 or so people to start when we were there, and we were having a good time, singing some songs, getting ready to go to the game. But once it became clear that there was an issue, some people just bailed and said, "Forget, we're out of here."
Yeah.
And hopefully that won't turn people off from doing it, because in terms of actually getting out to the game, it was brilliant.
You guys went straight there, right?
We went straight there, and because it's a bus, it gets to use all the bus lanes, so bus bypasses traffic. So I know this is skipping ahead to game 2. So game 2 happened, and that was actually at rush hour.
Yeah.
So we skipped the Colwood Crawl. I mean, we were out from Darcy's downtown to Darcy's in Langford in half an hour. So that was super easy. It
was really good timing, and at that point it just came down to, I hope it continues.
Yeah.
Because I think after a lot of people, heard or were aware of what happened on the first bus ride, so the second bus ride was obviously also on a Wednesday, and the game itself wasn't as well attended, but the bus was definitely...
Yeah, and certainly, I think for numbers for the bus on Wednesday, there was issues just because nobody knew the bus was actually definitely going to be running until about noon Wednesday.
Yes, it was they released it very late, and I think that also helped with these facts, and it
So hopefully they'll keep doing it because it was a great way to get to the game. It was nice and fast and comfortable. Quite enjoyed it. Although apparently, word to the wise, apparently some of these bus drivers don't like it when you drum while they're driving. So can't imagine why. So back to the actual game. So we had this march in. We let in with the pipes and the drums and the flags. I think we got a pretty good response from the crowd. I don't know, because you were in the stands.
I watched you guys march in, and it was nice and smooth. Thanks to the team, we were all cleared security nice and quickly, and we had a nice, easy march in, and everybody heard us.
Yeah, it was great.
The first game as a whole, we were all really well received, and everyone knew and could hear us all throughout the stadium, was what I was told.
Yeah, so I think it turned out really well, and I think it started off brilliantly just before the match started. We unveiled our first major TIFO. Look for that video online. You can see the preparation for that TIFO. It was pretty impressive, I think.
Yes. The TIFO, thanks Blake for organizing that. That TIFO turned out really well. And I'm really happy to see it. And sneak peek, we'll probably see it again.
Yeah, we might want to do it again just because timing issues actually meant that the TIFO was down before the players came on the pitch.
Yeah.
We didn't quite have our timing right there, so
the timing was...
It'd be good for the players.
Some of it was indicated by the club at that point because we had a smoke show, so to speak.
Yes, we did. We did have a smoke show after some back and forth and issues with smoke regulations for stadiums. We actually were able to do that. The club provided the smoke. Chose some of our members to go out and pop it when the time came. And I think people really enjoyed it. It
should make for some great marketing material and some good photos, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure someone got some good pictures of that.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Now, so in terms of game day experience, I mean, we drummed and we sang, did our thing the whole game. How do you think overall the game went as an experience for us?
As an experience, that is pretty much the top of, well, obviously, after 2 games, it's pretty much the pinnacle of what I think we're going to look like for a while. But that's just because there's only been 2 games. I am excited about this next game just to see, how it all compares. There was a lot of fanfare for this game. Yeah. It was a sellout game. We knew it was going to be big, and it was. And I think it was really good, and pretty much it's what we want to try to make every game look like, was exactly how that game turned out.
No, and organizationally, I think you talked about how security got us through on the march pretty nicely. Our section was well taken care of, I thought.
Yep.
So how do you think in terms of the job Brad did for the team and organizing the whole game day experience?
All of the game day went well. I think it was actually a little more overwhelming. A lot of the stuff behind the beer garden was very tight. I mean, that's the point where the march... We originally wanted the march to go through where the beer garden is located, but it became fairly apparent that was impossible because the lines for the food trucks and the stuff that was behind the beer garden pretty much clogged that off to where you guys had to take the road in and come in by the bowling alley. Which is fine, but it would have been made for a much cooler show if we would have been able to cut through the beer garden and the whole stadium would have seen us all the way through.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe in the future that'll work out, but the way it's currently configured, the fact that they're having to use the area behind the beer garden basically as concessions, because there's just no more space right now that's finished. So there's a lot of that area is just basically having to be used for concessions right now.
And speaking of unfinished, obviously there was large sections of the stands that were still not done. There was... Quite a lot of, how do you want to say it, picnic seating? There was just...
They're called bleachers.
Wooden benches? Well, yeah, I
they're
guess.
They're wooden bleachers at this point.
Technically a bleacher, yeah.
They're bleachers. They've got some number plates on them.
Okay, yeah.
But in general, I don't know what the finished product is supposed to look like, to the point where I got there and I was surprised to realize, after looking at the stands being constructed on camera for the last few weeks, I was surprised to look at them and realize these things aren't orange. They're just wood. I didn't even realize they were wood until I walked over and looked at them and looked up close, because on camera they just look like orange. And I'm like, so what? They made them out of metal and they're orange? And couldn't really tell off the camera.
There were a lot of people watching that webcam for the last week before the game, commenting on whether it was going to be ready, what was going to go. So I think in the end they pulled it off.
They did. I think the only major part that wasn't done, one of the roofs wasn't complete, and it was completed by Wednesday's game. And that was like the last little chunk. And... if I'm to believe, I believe the current bench seating, picnic seating as you want to call it, will eventually be actual buckets and normal seating.
I think
it's just not there yet.
Hasn't been installed, so that's good. So, in terms of the result on that first opening day, couldn't have been better, right?
The results are pretty much exactly what we wanted to see.
Yeah.
I mean, went up 1-0 and it stayed that way. We held, and it was an exciting hold too. Like, it wasn't just a straight up easy like score 1 goal and play defense. It was score 1 goal, have a guy red carded and sent off. Or no, it was 2 yellows sent off. Yep. I mean, it was they worked for it. It wasn't just an easy take my 1 goal and go home with it. It was take my 1 goal and fight to get it to the point where I believe they called like 1 goal back, I believe.
Yep. Yeah, there was the 1 goal that got called back, so it was
a lot of
exciting action. And for me, it was great because we set some milestones. In fact, this is something that's going to come up again, but we talked about how we got the first ever win in this league. We got the first ever clean sheet in the league. I mean, this is milestones that nobody else can ever do because we are the first. We are
the first
to sell out. First team to sell out too. That's true. First
I guess the Tim Hortons thing they gave half their tickets.
Tim Hortons still had 4 times our attendance.
Well,
but we sold out our stadium.
The funny thing about that, they had 4 times the attendance written on paper. Looking at the actual footage, I'm just like, where's 10,000 people sitting? Because I don't see them.
Good. And we did.
And they gave their tickets away, so they had that going for them.
Yeah, there was rumors of lots of free tickets given out, which is interesting. Yeah. As far as I know, Pacific FC gave few, if any, freebies. We were told they were pretty much all sold.
They didn't. They sold
paid tickets, so that bodes well, I think. So in that first game, we get the first win, we get the first clean sheet. 4 days later, we play our second game. We're playing Winnipeg. We play Valor, and we get 2 more firsts. We get the first loss in the league. No, I guess they're not first loss.
We were not.
First home loss.
Yeah.
First home loss in the league. And then, which obviously means that Winnipeg gets the first away win, which I guess is good for them. Yeah, whatever. Don't care. But in terms of that second game, obviously a much sparser crowd. Still, at least
it was still a couple thousand. I believe they called the attendance at 2 something.
I thought it was closer to 25, but 2,500. But either way, that's still, I think, as you say, a good attendance.
For being such a quick turnaround and the detriment to all leagues, like weekday games are unfortunately never well attended. Yeah. It's been the case just for years. It's hard unless you're like a phenomenal product. Like selling out a weekday game is very hard in all soccer.
Yeah.
And I have not yet to see a place where that's not the case. And we kind of proved that, but I think the crowd was good. It was a very brisk Wednesday night.
It was a bit chilly. Yeah.
Well, unexpected, to say the least.
Although it wasn't obviously as chilly as Edmonton earlier in the day on Wednesday.
It wasn't snowing,
I saw snow on the ground on their pitch. So
didn't have that problem.
Yeah, we still had shorts and shirts on here, guys.
We did. A lot of people wearing shorts. I'm like, why are you wearing shorts today?
Yeah. Now, the only thing that I guess has been a bit of a controversy the last couple of days since the game was played was the first goal. It was the first goal for Valor. There's been some question of whether or not there should have been an offside call. Now, have you looked at the replays?
I have not looked at the replay. I want to spend some time to sit down with One Soccer and watch the entire game.
There you go.
But I haven't gotten to the point where I've seen it, but I've heard there's quite a controversy over that call.
There is some, and I think it all revolves around the definition of deliberate versus deflection in terms of where it was played. So I guess that will be to be determined, but apparently it will be something, I guess, that the committee will be looking at to go forward and improve the refereeing, which we can all think is a good thing.
They can always go back and improve it, but obviously the play on the field
won't change the result.
Won't change our results ever. So.
But here's a little something. So how have you found the coverage of One Soccer so far? You've gone back and looked at something?
A little bit of it I've liked. I believe I haven't looked at it again recently, but so far it seems like everyone I know who's used it said the first opening games were a little jittery, but they've kind of gotten a little better, is my understanding. Obviously I was at the game, so I didn't notice as much, but a little jittery, a little buffering in the beginning, but it seems like they've pulled it off pretty well right now. Like it seems like a good product, and we've got a pretty good discount going for season ticket members for all of CAMPL, so I don't see any reason why it's not going to be.
Yeah, $50 for the whole season seems like a reasonable
pretty solid.
Deal. Yeah, no reason not to support that. So anything else you want to say about both games together, the first 2 games in terms of our fan experience and what's going on?
We might as well just start a section called Firsts, because every game is going to have one. Because, there's 20 people on the squad, and then at some point everyone's going to have that first goal, and then that'll continue.
True. Yeah.
We had Haber almost hit all of the woodwork in one game there. I think he hit the right post twice. I think, so he didn't quite have all three of them, but he was trying.
I will not soon forget. Thanks to where we are and the supporters' end there, we are so close to the pitch that it feels like you can reach out and touch Haber when he's got that look on his face.
Yeah.
How did I miss? Like, you could see it all over his face with that one. It was
and
good.
I think a lot of that, after seeing what we've done with our offense, I think it's definitely going to continue to gel more, and there's going to be a lot more plays that we're going to be excited to see.
And speaking of first, of course, we had more times, first time on the pitch, and at least, was it one or two players that nobody knew about even before the game?
That's because they signed the day of.
They signed day of, and look, they're on the pitch.
Well, we knew there was room on our roster specifically for a lot.
Yeah.
So I can't say I'm surprised that we signed and played a guy immediately.
Oh, exactly.
When we had, between injuries and the red card, we knew we were going to be starting line.
Going into our opening game, I think we only had 17 on the roster, didn't we? So
we do not have a big team right now. It's not filled
and we're still not full, so looking forward to some signings. Yeah. Right, Adam Straith?
Who?
Maybe.
Oh.
American. What are you going to do with
it? You did look at me.
I got some, now I guess we're talking about the future a bit. We got away games coming up, start of a big slog. We're talking about 4 games in like 10 days.
Something like that. It's not a very big period.
So May 8th is going to be away at Hamilton, and then followed on the 12th away to Edmonton.
Yep.
Both games, for those of you here in Victoria, are going to be streamed or shown, I guess, with One Soccer at Darcy's Pub downtown. This is being put on by the club, so we're going to give it a try anyway.
Got to see how it goes.
See what it looks like down there. They seem to have some nice screens, and they got good beer.
They got the TVs.
Yeah, we're good to go.
That always counts.
Yeah, that works. But also coming up, we'll maybe have a bit of a switch over here. We can't forget Victoria Highlanders. So we also have the Victoria Highlanders starting up soon. Their opening game Friday, May 10th. They're going to be playing Lane United at Centennial Stadium. And once again, the Red Aces are expected to make the trip up from Oregon. These guys are great. You've met the Red Aces, right, last year? This is a wonderful crew that always comes up, brings us lots of, shall we say, beverages. A good amount of beverages?
Well, they did. The choice of beverage was interesting. I believe there was a sour cucumber beer that sat in our Presidente's fridge for 8 months. We just finished them, apparently, they said. Took them.
Delicious. Yeah. Most of them we got rid of a lot earlier than that. So, Adam, if you're watching, maybe not so much of the sour. Just that's our taste.
Well, it's more of the combination of a sour cucumber, whatever you call that thing.
Sorry. Yes, I shouldn't disparage.
Some people might drink a regular sour.
Fair enough. But in case you like beer and food and the Victoria Highlanders, there's a great deal for you that you can still get, just have enough time to get in on. On Sunday, this coming Sunday, there's going to be a tasting opening party for the Highlanders at which you'll get for $100, and you will get both the tasting, the beer, and a season ticket for the Highlanders, normally priced at $75, all included for one price. So I think that's actually a pretty good deal. The
food menu, that looks like they're bringing out a great, and obviously Phillips Tasting Room has got one of the best selections in town, just because you go to the tasting room of the brewery, they have beers there that may never even make it into cans or to the public. They're just there, and they're really good.
So it's going to be a great evening, and who knows? Maybe you'll actually get to meet some of these new players they're signing. We talked earlier about PFC signing a whole bunch of players. Clearly, Highlanders have been stocking their roster, but as it's PDL,
they're on a roll.
We have no idea. We have virtually no idea who anybody is. There's a few returning kids from last year, and as we just found out, a player who used to play for us last year, Francesco Bartolillo. Oh, we love to chant that name. It was a good name to shout. He's now signed for Foothills, right? The arch rival, the nemesis of us.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's got to go where he's given, playing time, I understand, but I don't think he was ever not going to get playing time here. So the basis of the move, I don't know. It's PDL. I couldn't tell you why they signed who they signed.
Yeah, and of course, all we know is that nobody's expecting Calgary this year to be anywhere near the powerhouse it was last year.
That is true.
I mean, half their roster has moved on to the Cavalry FC, along with Tommy Wheeldon, the coach.
It was a surprise to see that they were continuing the PDL team at all. But I think.
You think so? Yeah.
I think so. I think. I don't think they're going to take away from their CanPL team by having a PDL team, but I think the PDL team will try to feed more of the CanPL team. So I think they have they will have a partnership if they already don't at this point. But it's a good idea. It's one where I'd wish somehow the Highlanders and Pacific had been able to work together in that regards.
Well, see, this is interesting because from what we understand, there is no formal tie between the Foothills and Cavalry, other than the fact that the coach moved from one to the other and the players did. So there has to be some working together.
Yeah.
So I guess technically on paper, the Highlanders have just as much of a relationship as Cavalry does.
This is true.
With the Foothills. Well, it remains to be seen. Yeah, well, let's hope that these kids that are coming into Highlanders actually are going to get a look-see from Michael Silberbauer.
Yeah.
I'm hoping we're going to see Jamie
It's going to be
Merriman.
super easy to scout a team that's in
Right?
town all the time.
Yeah, maybe Merriman or some of the other staff can be there.
As long as someone's in town, there's no reason not to go watch, especially when you're at a 17 people on your roster right now.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that just at that point, then suddenly we have an actual development pathway here in town.
Yeah, and that's an intriguing one, and I think it's going to be one that will continue to build throughout the league. Just longer all these leagues are in place, the more the opportunity is for basically sign for partnerships and ways for people to move up and down into teams as they need be.
Yep. So the only question now is, will there be a knockdown, drag-out fight between Stewie the Starfish and Striker Highlander?
No, they seem to get along pretty well in that photo shoot, but
That's true. They've already met.
they did meet. Yeah,
The dog didn't tear the Starfish a new one.
yeah, surprising.
This is good. Good boy, Striker. Good boy.
Yeah, good boy.